This is video 6 of 8 as we continue on our jaunt going to Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. It's the 2nd of November, 2018. The original plan for this trip was Maggie Valley, North Carolina. But as you'll see on video 8, we ran into some rain at Pigeon Forge and decided to end the video there. We do plan to pick up where we left off later on in the winter. We probably won't do it during the fall season. Probably after the holidays, we'll go to that point where we stopped at Pigeon Forge, pick up, go across the Smokies. This was our original plan. And we had enough SD card time in our camera to make that trip. But the plan is to go across the Smokies to Cherokee, North Carolina. And that's where the Blue Ridge Parkway begins. And we were going to get on the Blue Ridge Parkway there, go to the Maggie Valley, North Carolina exit, and then do a video down in and around Maggie Valley. We still have that in our plans, but it'll be a while. You can see a small smudging. It just went away. Now there's another one in the center of the screen. We were kind of surprised at the weather when we started to do this video because I had planned to do it the day before. And when we got up, you could tell that there was a heavy overcast. But I thought there was a possibility that it would burn off. But it's like this, and it's been this way most of the day. This video on the 2nd of November 2018, we recorded this between either noon and 3 o'clock or 2 and 3 o'clock. But it's the afternoon, and as we get closer to the Smokies, you'll see off in the distance the weather is really bad. I couldn't use my windshield wipers because I had the camera hooked to the windshield of the automobile. And as long as it was sprinkling, it really was not a problem. But when we get into Pigeon Forge, which you will see on video 8 of 8, it started raining real hard and it was impossible to see. And with the amount of traffic in Pigeon Forge, I have never been over there when traffic was not heavy. This traffic, some would consider this heavy traffic, but this is nothing compared with Pigeon Forge. Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg are extremely successful tourist stops in East Tennessee. And if you've never been there, I would suggest that you make plans to go because there's a lot to do and a lot to see. There's a lot of great entertainment in Pigeon Forge, some great theaters. You can choose just about any kind of music that you want and see it presented expertly. So Pigeon Forge is a good place to put on your itinerary for your vacation, especially if you're coming to Tennessee. As we continue, this is Highway 441, which goes across the Smokies. And it's also called Chapman Highway. Chapman Highway has built up over the years. like I was saying in one of the other videos, back when I was a child, when we went to the Smoky Mountains, we came down through here. And this road was desolate, other than little shops on each side of the road selling all kinds of souvenir items. The item that I remember the most, Chanel bedspreads. Oh, some of them were beautiful. And they were in abundance on this road. But now it's shopping centers. There's an IHOP. There's one stretch of this road just before you get to Sevierville where the businesses kind of, what am I trying to say? There are businesses there, but it's more like this area right here. It's kind of sparsely populated. But this used to be the main route to Sevierville. If I had been going to Pigeon Forge or Gatlinburg on a normal trip, I would have gone down from LaFollette. I would have gone down Interstate 75, got on 275, went over to Interstate 40, and exited at the Gatlinburg Sevierville exit off of Interstate 40. And your time would be much less than going down Chapman Highway. And you can see we're still picking up raindrops, but it's kind of intermittent. It kind of comes and goes, and when it stops, the rain evaporates from the GoPro camera or the GoPro cover that I have outside on my camera. As long as it was like this, I would have gone across the Smokies. But if you want to jump ahead to video 8 of 8, near the end, you'll see exactly what we had to contend with. And there was no way I could see out of the window with that much rain without windshield wipers. And I couldn't use the windshield wipers as long as I had my camera hooked to the front windshield. I have it hooked low. It doesn't obstruct my vision, but you can't use windshield wipers when you have something stuck on your window. But I promise, if it's all possible, before the winter's over, I'll go to that spot in Pigeon Forge where I stopped. I'll pick up, go across the Smokies, and we'll get on the Blue Ridge Parkway, and we'll do a complete tour of Maggie Valley, North Carolina. I've only been to Maggie Valley, I'm trying to think. I don't think that I've ever been to Maggie Valley, going specifically to go to Maggie Valley. My wife and I, Pat, we were on a road trip somewhere, and we came back and we had the GPS set up for, I'm wanting to say Gatlinburg maybe, or Maryville. I can't remember. Wherever we had the GPS set, it took us through Maggie Valley. I remember coming through there not too long ago during the wintertime. Someone it had snowed, and some people were riding inner tubes off of this humongous hill. It's November 2nd, 2018. Rain is threatening, and it's drizzling, as you can see occasionally on the cover of my camera. I'm using a GoPro Hero 3 Black. This little camera is incredible. For things like this, you can't beat it. You don't have a lot of weight to contend with the camera. When you see how small the camera is, this thing will even do 4K video. You can't do 4K on a road video like this because it'll only record at 15 inches per second on 4K. So the only drawback with 15 inches per second, look at that whirly. Okay, I thought that was one of those whirligigs going around and around. I'm recording this at 60 frames per second. And when you go by one of those LED signs, they have a lot of them in Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg. It must be on a 60 cycle frequency. It blinks the way it, I don't know if you remember back when the VCR cameras came out. If you were doing a video in your living room and the television was on, it looked like the television was rolling. It works on the same principle. A lot of times, if you look at the automobiles, it looks like the wheels are rolling backwards. And it has to do with the frame rate. And if you're doing 60 frames per second, there's a correlation there between moving objects and your frame rate that will give you an optical illusion. The first time I ever remember seeing that, I used to go to the movies at the Cherokee Theater in LaFollette on Saturday. They always had 2 Western movies. And when the stagecoach was going down a dusty road and the highwaymen were chasing the stagecoach, I wondered why the wheels were always rolling backwards. When you're young and you see things like that and you are curious, you wonder, how is that happening? Then you set out to find out what's happening. And if you've ever wondered about that, which I'm sure you probably haven't, there's a simple explanation, and it has to do with the frame rate. I don't know, when they used to film those Western movies in 35 millimeter film, I don't know what the frame rate was for the film. It was so many inches per second, and I don't know. I just don't know. If I'd taken the time to go to Google, but now when you mention stuff like that, as soon as you finish watching this video, I'm sure you'll go to Google to find out why wheels roll in reverse on movies. I don't believe that happens in the modern day movies. I believe the producers compensate for that. Now, I may be wrong on that, but while I was jabbering about that, I better pull my mouse down to see how much time I've got left on this. Looks like I've got 3 minutes. See, let me get it down here a little closer. I've got 3 minutes left. But I'm sure that somewhere along the line, and I had never thought about it before until I got to jabbering about it, I don't believe that I've seen that phenomena on modern movies. And if not, someone had to compensate for it, which would be easy to do. If you know the revolutions, I'm getting too far out, but if you know the revolutions of your wheels and the frame rate of what you're using to video or film the wheels, you can coordinate it to the point to where they don't run backwards. And that's all I'm going to say about that. If you've never thought about it before, you're going to Google to find out. And all of you all know, you're probably saying, Frank, you should say it this way, or you should say it that way. How did I get on that? Mainly what I'm trying to do is fill in the audio portion. I lost my time stamp again. Let me put it back down here. The audio portion is what I'm trying to fill up because, as I mentioned on some of the other videos that I did, no longer do I want to put music in the background. That is a no-no. If you could choose a piece of music that everybody loved, that would be fine. But if you're going to use copyrighted music, and later on, if you want to monetize your video, you can't monetize it. The person that owns the copyright to the song would be able to monetize your own video. So background music, unless it's absolutely necessary, is a no-no anymore. Of course, if you go back and check some of my older videos, man, I tell you what, I was really wearing this music stuff out. We have 30 seconds left on this video, and this is video 6 of 8. There's 8 videos in this series entitled Fall Colors from LaFollette to Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. We did this on the 2nd of November, 2018. Well, we'll see you over there on video 7. That's the end of video 6.